Today on the channel, we build Great Khali and we rank the Royal Rumble WWE Elite Series from my least favorite to my favorite.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Royal Rumble WWE Mattel Elite unboxing and review. And I guess not so much unboxing and review this time, as today we're building the Great Khali Build-A-Figure. And then, of course, the back half of this very video, we're going to rank the entire Royal Rumble set from my least favorite to my favorite, including Great Khali. Stay tuned to that. But of course, for all your Royal Rumble Elite needs and everything else wrestling related, hit up Ringside Collectibles. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10%. Got to get a deal out there. And Khali is here, first time in the Elite line, not first time in the Mattel line, as we did get basics way back in the day. But Khali, one of those ones I wanted for a long time. When Omos first started getting figures, I said, could this mean we're going to get Khali? I figured they'd maybe use some of that, some reuse. Not sure if they did or not. I guess we'll find out here in a little bit. But hopefully this paves the way for other Giants. I would love Giant Gonzalez. Sounds like it's not in the cards, but that would be a great one to have in the Elite line. But I'll take a Khali anytime. It'll be interesting if we get more Khalis in the future. Could we get other Elites? Obviously, this one in the red pants. You got black pants. You got a few different looks from Khali. Be interested to see where it goes with him. But we're going to kick it off with the 2010 version as the Build-A-Figure. And I guess we'll build him first right here. Of course, all the body parts throughout the figures. We talked about that the way we went. 2 gripping hands out of the package, 2 extra fists of fury for the Great Khali. Got to have him in fists is how I'm going to display him here. But let's put it together. We're going to see how easy he goes together here. One arm in there, fairly easy. Second arm, just as easy there. So we're batting 1,000 right here. Going to pop the old Khali head on top. There it is. And Khali does have a beard in this one. I believe at San Diego Comic-Con he was beardless, if I'm not mistaken. Goes right on in there. So Khali went together very, very easily. Sometimes these Build-A-Figures fight us. We know how that goes. But as I was saying, I believe at San Diego Comic-Con wasn't he beardless, and now the final version here does have a beard. So when I think of the Great Khali, I do think of the goatee going on. He's got black hair, all slicked back, of course. Black goatee, 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, 2 ears, playing those human Great Khali hits right there. Definitely looks like Khali. Got the big upper torso. We remember Khali with that big, big chest of his. Looking good there. Of course, some big old long arms on him. 2 gripping hands out of the package, as I did mention, as his arm does fall out, which happens time to time from Build-A-Figure. Sometimes you think you got him in tight, and maybe you don't. Got the big ab crunch going on. A little loose in the ab crunch, not terrible. Waist articulation. Got those big old splits for Khali right here. Legs do go up. No bounce back on that. Thigh cut, double jointed pinless knees, big old legs on Khali, ankles back and forth side to side, no real up and down on here, but some big old feet for the Great Khali. No doubt this looks like Great Khali though, so I can't fault Mattel for that. He does feel a little bit light, a little bit hollow. His legs seem to carry the majority of the weight, which is, I guess, the way a lot of these bigger giant figures do go. Punjabi on the side over here, of course, looking good in the red. And he does stand. No, does he stand? Does he want to stand? There he goes. He does stand, but of course he will also fit on a Mattel Ringside Collectible stand. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10%. What do you know? Khali standing on his own. Ready to go. Ready to take on the world here. Truly one of the great giants of wrestling. Maybe not so much in the ring, but a very memorable giant from the 2010s era and so on for around there. Really taken over for other giants when there was no giants at the time. So, I don't know. I think, didn't he go to the Hall of Fame? If I'm not mistaken. I was going to say maybe a future Hall of Famer, but I feel like he already went into the Hall of Fame. I could be wrong, but I feel like I'm right on that one. But he is a giant. But speaking of giants, I want to do some comparisons. That's what I was excited for with this one. And we're going to start the comparisons with Great Khali Mattel Basic figures. So we got the, oh my gosh, look at that height difference right off the bat there. We got 3 different Khalis, of course, from the Basics line, and they tower over this Elite. So I got to say right off the bat, very disappointing as far as that does go. He is very short, but shorter than the Mattel Basics. And we've seen Mattel, their heights go up kind of down all over the place over the last couple of years. It's almost like their scale is changing. Sometimes guys are shorter, sometimes guys are taller. Not exactly sure, but I would have expected his Elite to be the same size or maybe a little bit taller than these Basics. Not the case here. Very clear right here. He is shorter than those. We're going to compare him to some other giants, though. We might as well. And I guess I do have a Khali from the Jakks Ruthless Aggression line. Of course, he had a few over there in the Jakks days. This one also taller. So also taller from the Jakks. So once again, I want my giants to be giants. So far, he's coming up short in all these comparisons right here. So we got all the Khalis out the way. How about we do another Jakks one since we're here? One of my all-time favorite giants. I loved Giant Gonzalez. Big fan of old George. I loved Elegante. I know he was terrible in the ring, but something about him I liked as a little kid. Once again, taller than the great Khali. A giant, a true giant. Can you imagine these two forming a mean old tag team? Holy cow, that would be something. But now we get into the elites here. How about Andre the Giant? Khali should be taller than Andre the Giant. That is not the case as well here. So he is really coming up short on all these comparisons. A little bit disappointing. And then the final one I got is the first Omos Elite figure. And I believe as well, shouldn't he be taller than Omos? And he is shorter than Omos. So very wild here. This giant Khali, shorter than every single comparison we did right here at the table. So that is a little bit strange, peculiar. I don't know. Will he be taller in future versions? Or is that just the new scaling from Mattel? I'm not totally sure right here, but as you can see, he has came up short in all these comparisons, which to me, a little bit disappointing there. I want my giants to be giant. It'd be interesting to see where we go in the future for the great Khali, but there it is, the Royal Rumble Build-A-Figure Elite Khali. Now, stay tuned as we got to rank the entire series from my least favorite to my favorite. All right, time to put the latest and greatest Royal Rumble set to rest as we rank the entire wave from my least favorite to my favorite, of course. Got the 5 figures as part of the set right here. All of them looking good for what they are. We dissected every single one in their own videos. Check them out if you missed it. And of course, we're going to do this countdown like we do all the other countdowns on this YouTube channel. We're going to start at number 5, work our way to number 1. Number 1 being my favorite of all time. Of course, this is my list, so it's 100% right. Your list can be 100% right as well. Put your list in the comments down below. But here we are, 5 figures. Let's kick it off, and we're going to kick it off at number 5. Number 5, very easy for me. Of course, good friend of the channel, good friend out there, good He-Man brother, Cody Rhodes. However, he's going to have to be at the number 5 spot for me. Just not enough meat on the bone right here for this Cody with me. It's a good figure. It's a good Cody to have, but we've been bombarded with Codys that are very similar and over the same time frame over the last year or two, so it doesn't feel even that more different. Where Hogan, you get Hogans all over the place for many different years. They feel fresh and different. Cody kind of getting into a little bit of a rut, it feels like. But nothing against this figure. Representing a big moment, winning the Royal Rumble. It is what it is, but for my list, coming in right here at number 5. Number 4, another easy selection for me. I'm going to go Kevin Nash, of course. Big, sexy, Big Daddy Cool, Diesel, whatever you want to call him. Diesel in this here. Just not a super Diesel figure. It just kind of is what it is. Definitely not a super memorable part of his career, his long career. Cool to have. I'm not against it. Somebody's got to be number 4, and it's going to be him at the number 4 spot. Now we're going to go to the final 3, and this is where it gets crazy. Ooh, it gets crazy right here. You know what? 3 and 2 are very tough for me. 3 and 2 are very tough for me to decide. But I'm going to go number 3, the great Khali. Now, Khali would be a little bit heavier, a little bit further up the list here, maybe even to number 1 if he was scaled correctly. Even with Kevin Nash, he's just barely taller than Kevin Nash. They made him entirely too short. So hopefully if we get more Khalis, he is upsized a little bit. They need to go back to the old pay window and get this one done. As really disappointing for this Khali figure. And I was very excited for this giant. First time in the line character, hopefully not last time in the line. But his height just held him back for me. That's what happened there. Now we're down to the final 2. Where are we going for these final 2s? And gosh, it's close once again. Who's going to be number 2? Who's going to be number 1? I can't believe I'm doing it. I'm doing Hurricane at number 2, the Hulkster at number 1. And let me explain myself. I'm contradicting myself a little bit here, but we're going to go Hurricane at number 2, a close number 2. This one is a lot more improved than I thought it was going to be. I love the ponytail in the back. Love the painted on mini mask going there. Of course, a sucker for a cape season. You know that. Soft goods cape looking good. Just a very, very good Hurricane figure. I like this one a whole lot. But the Hulkster going to come in at number 1. And let me explain myself. I just explained Cody Rhodes over and over and over. You could say that about the Hulkster, but especially this Hulkster, as we just got this in Elite 96. However, that being said, this is, to me, probably the defining Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania style Hulk Hogan figure in the Elite line. So to get this back out again is never a bad thing, if you ask me. It is really what you think of with Hulkamania. Then you go the extra attention to detail with a super deep cut. That's not a super deep cut, but deep cut for an action figure in that big banner. I think that is very, very cool, and it is something that I wouldn't expect Mattel to come out with here. Also, it's the 40th anniversary of Hulkamania. You know me, I'm a Warrior guy. I'm not a Hulkster guy. I was against Hulkster on the old playground back in the day. I'm still against the Hulkster. However, even me, I can sit back and reflect on the 40th anniversary of Hulkamania, getting all these figures here. There's something special about that. There's something cool about that. Not a lot of superstars have 40 years of action figures that we can get. So I really do like this for what it is. An amazing base, one of the best Hogan figures of all time. Throw on this deep cut, and of course a kid from the 80s, 90s as a little kid watching this on pay-per-view. Very, very memorable. So I like this Hulkster. But all of them pretty good for what they are. Definitely warrant a spot in the collections, especially if you're a completist like me. You're wanting to get all the different looks. I like this instead of just greatest hits re-releases with new joints. At least it's something different across the board, so I will give props to that. But there it is. That is my Royal Rumble rankings. Be interested to hear your rankings in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the old notification bell. We got videos every single day, and then some. We got even more content for you, of course, over there on Patreon. Patreon, the best way to support this YouTube channel and all the content it does bring. My book, The Complete Guide to the WWE Jakks Class Superstar Series, available on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and now Kindle. Check it out if you have not. Of course, ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson. Don't forget social media. SirPaul64 is where you're going to find me on the X, the _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, and on Instagram. So for Hulkamania, the Hurricane, Khali, Diesel, and Cody Rhodes, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.